Well, hi everyone. Welcome to the New England Racing Show. Manchester, New Hampshire, channel 23, and also on YouTube. I'm your host, Bill Sturgis. Well, this last Friday night, we went to Lee Speedway, and the New England Classic Lights were there. So we wanted to bring you their feature, and as usual at Lee, we take a tour through the pits, and we'll show you our pit tour and the actual race. There's a 79 Pat Tangway. He's the points leader in the hobby stocks. Everyone likes it when you walk around with a big camera like that. They know they're going to be on TV. They call them hobby stocks, but a lot of them are really well done. Nice professional lettering and everything's painted up. Nice clean cars. They put on a really good show too. It's a nice early 70s Camaro. You don't see many of those anymore. Well, here they're getting ready to take the green in the Classic Lights feature. They took the yellow instead because they weren't lined up right. And try it again. And a couple of them got together and a few more spun to avoid him. It's the 02 of Jake Cray. And the 15, last name is Colson. Well, good thing they weren't locked together. We'd have to get Skip's towing out there. But they'll have to go to the back now. For little cars, these things are scary fast. And you're sitting just a few inches off the ground. Some of these guys can barely fit in there. The door's open. That's the only way you'd get in there. So I got to hand it to them. They're pretty brave. I think these things have Mazda engines in them. But you take the horsepower to weight ratio, it's pretty good. As with the Supers, the engines are pretty much equal, so you really got to know how to set up a car, because that's where your advantage is. And of course, knowing what line to take. Sometimes a car will work better up high that night. So you got to find that out in practice. Oh, he stuck his nose in there a little too late. And car that spun out didn't see him. You see that develop and you go, no, no. Don't try to stick it in there. And sure enough, he did. 27 of AJ Giacomosi. Lap 9. back when we used to race quarter midgets, the car that stuck his nose in there would have to go to the back for coming in too late like that. But I don't think they do that in the real racing world, so you can get away with stuff like that. That's what creates a lot of conflicts on the track. A few weeks ago we showed you the classic lights at Star Speedway, and that race was won by Steve Danger Dickey. It was a real good race, but he wasn't in this race tonight. I understand the car might have been sold. It wasn't his car. It was fun watching him go from the back to work his way through traffic and go right to the front. It's nice when you get a lot of the cars being pretty much equal, and that's what puts on good racing. And these guys don't mind going 2-3 wide. White flag coming up. And there's the winner. Big battle for second and third. There was a lot of action back in the pack, too. It's funny how you travel 2-3 hours and race 20 laps. It takes about 5 minutes, and then, but it's much more than that. 30 of Dwayne Schofield.
Yeah, no, not bad at all, and that was a very close race out there. You guys run pretty much wheel to wheel all the time.
Yeah, it's kind of fun help. No offense, it's really fun.
Got some people you want to thank?
Yes, Dave's Cars, E-Keys for Cars. I want to thank George Hannigan, and congratulations on a long marriage for Dave and Annette.
That's right, great, thanks. Congratulations on your first 20 minutes.
Dwayne Schofield finished third.
And we move up to the 03. Who's got his trophy in hand, comes home in second place. Nice run.
Thank you. It wouldn't have been possible without Kinsey Racing, Ed, Lindy. Last week we tore the whole right front off before they even showed up. They put it all back together. I still made it out in the heat and feature, top 10. This week, first time I've made it to the podium. I have to thank Warren Engine Services in Nashua, and I have to thank Northeast Custom Coatings. Without their sponsorship, I'd never be able to race. These guys did a fantastic job. My dad's here every single week with me. He's been here taking me to races since I was a baby. Since he was a baby, he's gone to all the tracks. I tried catching Wayne. He was fast. He was faster than the car. He bobbled once. I thought he was going to lose it. He caught hold of it, and I just said, well, I'll settle back and I'll keep an equal distance, and hopefully I can gain. I'll take second. I'll take top 3 any day.
There you go. All right, second place is all right on a Friday night. That's good.
Kenny G finishing second. I know what he means. We'll take a top 3 anytime. It's better than wrecking, that's for sure.
We mentioned it last time. There's a for sale sign on this car. I think the price just went up again.
Yeah, the FAA put a stop to people like give me a pilot to drive this thing. This thing is fast. Thanks to Shane Reinhold from Reinhold Lawn Service, did a great job getting the car. Found after the heat race incident, they found a problem in the front of the suspension, and maybe go for a little wild ride over there and try to fill in the last lap. But we got it back together. Thanks to my father. He helped out a ton with the setup this week. My brother David too. He's down in South somewhere. He helped out this week. Everybody that helps out. Sean's well. Security guard. My brother Bill. My big brother Bill. My family's here. My kids are finally here for a win, so I'm really excited. My son lost his first tooth today, so it was a pretty big day for us.
Yeah, well, that proved to be luck tonight. So
Pretty proud of Dad.
Very strong win here.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I also got to thank E-Keys for Cars. They help out the club a lot. David's Race Cars and Components. And a big thanks to DJB Trailer. They helped out with the Lee races this year. And without people like that who step up to the plate and help out local race car drivers like us, Lee Speedway, a local facility, a lot of places are going under. So for people to help out like that, it's encouraged, and we love it. We thank them a lot.
Congratulations. Thank you very much. Another win, and he's in victory lane once again. Very fast here tonight. It's a 0-7. That wraps it up from victory lane.
Hey. All right,
buddy. Thank you very much. Congratulations to our winners. And the top 3. Great job once again to Tom Mooney. Down there and up here. Okay, that does put the wraps on it here tonight. Hope you enjoyed the race program. Hope you'll come back and see us 7:15 next week when we remember Lance Davis.
Don't hide that sign. Don't hide it.
Not if you know what's good for you, Ken. NASCAR Wheel and All-American Series Division. There we go. Now we got the sign. In action here. 7:15.
Yeah, perfect.
Show on the green post time here.
It's your favorite place to be is Victory Lane.
Judy McDonald, Pete Falcone, all of us here in the tower.
Well, there's some happy campers there. That was this past Friday night at Lee. And Saturday night, we took a ride with our NEMA light car and NEMA up to Riverside Speedway in Groveton, New Hampshire. I've never been that far north. And it was 130 miles from Manchester, about 25 miles northwest of Berlin. Out in nowhere, but what a nice little track. It's probably between a quarter and a fifth of a mile. Very high banked. You don't realize that till you get on the track and walk, and you're like trying to stand up straight. It reminds you of a little Daytona, but that place was scary fast. So what we did was we're standing on the back stretch here coming out of 2. This is where the cars come off the track. And it doesn't look that much bank, but it certainly is. And here's the pit area. Some of the midgets are on that side. And all the regulars pitted closer to the snack bar. Way down there, straight ahead. So as usual, we take a little pit tour. I wasn't able to identify these cars. They have like 6 or 7 divisions. I think it's 6 divisions. Some of them, the same car will be used twice, once by one of the woman drivers and once by the man. He'll get in there and drive the car. They have a woman's division. But they do race late models and the street stocks. There's a late model, number 1, Vermont, Jeremy Lacrosse. Number 10, Brian Mason, he's second in points. Another number 10, I don't have that one on there. The 77 of Brandon Lambert, he's third in points. These are ACT legal, they run the same rules. So they can go race with ACT. '17 of Steve Patnaud. He's 5th in points. That's a really nice car. The 02, the points leader, Randy Potter. They said the car count was a little bit down this week due to all the fairs that were going on around there. Lancaster Fair, having demolition derbies, and a lot of the people going to the fair and skipping the racing for a week. I don't know why you'd skip a race date for a week. There's a snack bar. We're up on the pit grandstands here on the top row. And there's where the cars go out onto the track. I want you to note that little wall that went out there. This is the back straightaway here. Some more, I think those are street stocks. '21 Matt Carbone, late model. Seem to be a lot of Pontiac Grand Prix. That seems to be, you see tons of those things driving around. It must have been the hottest selling car, and that seems like in this division that's about all you see. They told me this was one of the girls driving this one, the pink one. Here's the NEMA and NEMA Light Midgets. We're out on the front straightaway for a pit party. So they invited the people from the stands to come on down and have your kids get autographs and sit in the cars. They had 12 NEMA midgets and 12 NEMA light midgets. I think this is a great way to get the young fans involved. You have them come down and talk to the drivers and sit in the car, and that's how you make fans. Because if you don't do that, they don't know who the drivers are. Everyone just goes out there and they just see the cars. This way it makes it real to them. They had a table set up with some of the drivers doing autographs here. But most of them were standing by their cars.
Great racetrack. It really is a good-looking midget track, particularly with the banks they're going to be flying around this time. Thanks, Steve. Watching these guys in practice, I started talking with a bunch of these guys, and I just don't know how they do it. I mean, some of these kids, 14, 15, 16 years.
Here's our car. We had some kids sitting in there. Wave. We'd wave to them and they'd wave back. Well, that was pretty neat. Anyway, there was one incident up at the Speedway where two midgets got together and hit the wall. One of them hit head on, and the driver got hurt pretty bad. He broke a couple of vertebrae in his back and his wrist and everything. And I just want to say just a quick word about Speedway safety. At Riverside, they had this wall on the backstretch that came out. At the end of the backstretch, it came out into the track about 10 feet. And a lot of people would stand behind that wall. That's where the cars would come out on the track. And a couple of midgets, one hit that wall head on. And it makes you realize that, maybe things could be a little safer at some of these tracks, and that wall could come out. And there was people standing on the other side of that wall, and they were really lucky that the car didn't go over the wall, because they would have got taken out. But anyway, safety's on the driver's part and the car builder's part, and also on the Speedway part, is pretty important. So, having said that, we'll have more racing action for you next week. Not sure from where. Star and Lee Speedway probably. And we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.